Okay, thank you very much. We'll have a very abbreviated meeting this evening. We will handle a couple of the informal applications. We do not have a physical quorum here as required by law, so we cannot take any actions tonight. The agenda will be abbreviated. There are some extension items on our agenda. We will be unable to take those. We will be unable to take the minutes for those who are playing at home. That's a real disappointment, of course. And then we will be unable to adopt our 2024 schedule. But we can hear at least and give the courtesy of those who have come down here with their applications to at least hear them out. And unfortunately, we can't schedule them for a public hearing or take other action, but we can hear them. So the first one that we have on our agenda is Panetti, 2 Main Street, Kisco Park. This is an application for a site development plan approval, an application for a preliminary subdivision approval, stormwater management, erosion and sedimentation control for construction of a new single-family residence.
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. I'm Ralph Alfonzetti. I'm the engineer for the project. I can pull up my screen if that's okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Mr. Chairman, while the applicant is pulling up their screen, I want to just inform you that the Chapakua Central School District representative has left the meeting.
Yeah, no, we heard. Yeah, thank you. Yep.
Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so as was noted, this is right now a single family, one house on this property. We're looking to subdivide it for 2 building lots, keeping the existing house. There is an existing wetland in this area where my cursor is. The existing house is here, pretty close to Main Street, and the existing septic is right behind the house. Our proposal is to subdivide it as this plan shows, with the property line right here where my cursor is, house in this location, conforming to the setbacks, septic in this area, and we have some stormwater in this area here where my cursor is now. I kind of jumped into this. I know there was another consultant, architect, I believe, that was doing the subdivision. I kind of took it over, but I did get everyone's memos, and I didn't see anything in there that is major. But I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, correct. Yeah. Sabrina, do you want to run through your points in your memo?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is greatly improved since the last time this application appeared before your board. It is still a type 2 action, so there's no need to go any further with it. The Environmental Quality Review Act. The revised plans do indicate the correct zoning district, but we have not received any new application materials correcting that in the application materials. My third comment is regarding the coverage calculations worksheet. Both lots are within the coverage requirements, the minimum building coverage and the minimum development coverage, or the maximum allowable, I should say. So there's no issues there. There's one addition that I had to the zoning conformance table, and that is to include the width at the front lot line, incorporate that 75 foot into that zoning conformance table. It would be helpful. And I really had no other issues from a planning perspective. I would defer to both Bob Seoli and Dennis Corelli in regards to their areas of specialty. I have no objection setting a public hearing for this at your next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Bob, do you have any comments?
Yes, sir, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Go over them quickly. Stormwater comments, I break them down. ST1 is basically additional soil testing is required. Also too, there's additional areas of impervious which they should take up and incorporate into the plans, which is ST2, ST3 and ST4, basically just additional storm events that should be incorporated into the SWIP for the 1 year, 10 year, 24-hour storm events. Basically ST5 and ST6 are just minor technical items that should be incorporated into the plan. They should be stamped and signed. ST7, they should submit a stormwater management application along with a fee of $500. ST8, basically, obviously this is more than 5,000 square feet of disturbance, so it's gonna need a New York State DEC SWIP as well. And I have general comments, basically GC1 is stopping site distances they should show along the roadway, the entrance, to make certain they do meet the required stopping site distance for the posted speeds of 25 mph. Also to GC2, they should provide the minimum separation distance between the drainage and the on-site wastewater treatment in accordance with Westchester County. GC3, there's 2 retaining walls, one on the north side, one on the south side of the driveway, which requires structural calculations and sections as well. And GC5 are just general notes I'd like to see on every plan, which regards water service connection, and also GC6. The pavement replacement should include standard details that we have in chapter 1 and 9, which I outlined A, B, C, and D. GC7, basically just general notes. It's a standard note that should be put on the water service. Everything really, believe it or not, has to be looked at and approved by the DPW, the water service lines. And then GC8 is the driveway profile, has some technical comments as I indicated on A, B, C, and D. GC9 is gonna be the street opening permit, and obviously they should provide a subdivision map prepared by a New York State DOS, reviewed by the planning board, and provide copies of the on-site wastewater treatment system as approved by the Westchester County as well. And those are my comments for tonight on this application, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Alfonsetti, any issues or problems with any of those? Any questions on the town engineer's comments?
Just one quick question. Bob, you mentioned the septic system approval on the for the lot. But I don't have to get septic system approval now, I just have to show the one's viable. For subdivision.
That's fine,
Okay.
that's fine. But you on the subdivision map, you show the standard table which has all your deep test data
Correct,
on it, so make certain that's incorporated onto the subdivision map.
correct, yep.
Okay. Dennis, you had some comments?
Yes, thank
You
you.
have to speak up, you're really far away.
So the applicant did do an update of the original delineation from 2010, I believe it was over the summer, so that meets 137-5B for delineation within 12 months of filing the application. When I originally went out there in February, and I still felt the same when I went out in October, I just think, and I don't know, Ralph, if maybe you can move your cursor to the 3 flags that I'm talking about on the lowest utter there, 6, 7, and 8. I included the photos this time around because those are the same pink flags that I had dropped back in February. They bump out that area slightly. I don't know, I pasted, it's maybe 10 feet-ish, 12 feet-ish. It's just that I think that section of the wetland is just a little bit bigger, so I just wanted to get those resurveyed just so that that's accurate. And my focus was probably more the existing septic at the time. Got a copy of the plan versus what was proposed. I'm not sure if that would or would not even maybe touch a wood guide rail, but I just wanted to make sure that that was accurate. So that was my only comments with respect to the wetlands. And I know I've asked this in prior permits, just from looking at the site, from being out there, I think you're gonna end up removing at least one tree possibly, and others are kind of close enough that, you know, we probably would look to try to institute some forms of protection during construction, just to, you know, if you're looking to keep those, to try to preserve them as best we can. So that, I haven't really seen anything of all the submissions to this point regarding the trees, so it would be nice to either get confirmation that you're not removing any trees, or if you are, just, you know, submit the tree removal permit application, we can get, you know, started on that as well. And those are my comments, thank you.
So we've contacted the surveyor, he's gonna update those 3 flags, and he's also gonna locate the trees on the proposed lot.
Okay, do you think I mean, have you seen it? I mean, do you feel at least one tree's coming down, for example?
There may be one, that's why we're gonna have them out there and just get them and
Okay.
we'll know for sure then.
All right, perfect, thank you.
Great, Okay. Any comments, thoughts? Dick, any thoughts, comments? Okay. If not, the only issue that we had was whether or not a tree application had to be filed, otherwise we were going to be set to be scheduling this for a public hearing, so we'll try to do that next time we meet, which is gonna be what, the
21st.
21st, just before Thanksgiving, okay. So anyway, if you could attend to those notes that we have from Bob and Dennis, we can try to move this along for you as quickly as we can. And go from there. Thank you very much, it's
So
much improved
just so I'm
application.
clear, so the next meeting I'd come in and then that's when we would schedule for the next
That's
meeting will
correct.
be public hearing? Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
very good,
thank you.
Apologies again for not being able to make the decision tonight.
okay, no, understand, no problem.
So the next item we have is the Ryerson and Kumar, 14 and 10 Brookdale Lane. This is an application for a preliminary subdivision plat approval for a lot line change, lot line adjustment.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dawn Ford. I'm from the law firm of Pollock and Associates. Represent the applicant, the Erica Grazerski Irrevocable Trust. And as the chairman said, we are asking that the board consider a lot line change and a subdivision approval. This is a property that was developed in the early 70s. And we believe the developers did a property swap that was not recorded in early 1970, 71, and 72 to accommodate the septic field on lot 4, which is the property of Ryzerski. If I could pull up my map, I'd appreciate that.
Sure.
Okay, and you see here, this is the lot owned by Ryzerski's, and lot 3 is owned by applicant Kumar. This is the existing tax map lot, and the dark lines indicate the existing legal property line. And we believe that it was done to accommodate the septic field located on Ryzerski property. This property swap does not result in any new lots and does not result in any change in the area of the properties. There is an issue with some out of possession fence, it's 2.6 feet, and a little piece of the driveway of Ryzerski here is 1.9 feet. And the parties have agreed that the Ryzerski will be approached to be wholly within the property of their lot. I get, that's exactly what we're asking for, is for that the tax map lot be adjusted to be reconciled with the property description. Are there any questions?
Mrs. Courtney, do you have the survey with the colored lines on it?
I do,
I think it would be helpful for the board to see that since there are colors showing the difference.
sure. I apologize, I don't know how to use tabs here. Just 1 second. There we go.
Thank you.
So this is the Ryzerski property lot 4, and this is the Kumar property lot 3. This is the existing tax map lot line here, and the colored lines indicate the property boundaries.
And have these lots been essentially used in this manner by the neighbors?
They have, nothing has changed on these properties since the properties were constructed and developed in the early 1970s. There was a variance granted for the construction of a pool on lot 4 and tennis court on lot 3. All of that was done in the 70s as well. So the properties have existed in this condition since the 1970s.
Okay. Sabrina, you got some thoughts?
I did, just to reiterate, the the deeds filed regarding these two properties reflect a lot line change, it's the map that does not. So this is an attempt to bring the map to be consistent with the deed filing. It's a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. I think it's important to note that these lots predate the town's building coverage requirements. But they are in the maximum allowable building coverage. The development coverage, they predate development coverage and they are outside of development coverage limits. So just to kind of clarify, if any work is to be done on these lots in the future, they would need to see development coverage variances.
That's understood.
I think it's important to note that there's a small portion of the Reserski driveway and the vinyl fence that does encroach into the Kumar lot. That should probably be, the fence should probably be relocated and the driveway should probably be removed so that there's no encroachment across the lot line. But I leave it up to the applicant to address that however they need to address it, or get an easement from the neighbor to allow that to happen. And that's all my comments, I don't have any problem with this going to public hearing.
Right.
So this is, sorry, this is Rohit Kumar, the owner of the other side, like the other property. So I think, just wanna put it on record that it's been agreed that those encroachments that were mentioned will be removed within 6 months.
Okay,
That's correct. We've agreed between the parties to have those encroachments removed.
And I
okay.
also have a question, if I may. Sabrina, what was it that you said about any future development? I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
So the town today, as of the 1990s, instituted what we call coverage limitations. So there are separate coverage requirements for all buildings, and there are separate coverage limitations related to development on the lot. So if you were to put additional buildings or recreational things on your lot, or walkways or patios or terraces, you would need to apply for a building permit and then fill out a coverage calculation worksheet. You would most likely be over the development coverage limitations that are allowed under today's standards. But it only comes into effect if you're doing new things on your property.
Right, okay. So fill the, like a building permit and give a coverage worksheet if anything new is taken.
Correct. Yes.
Understood. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, any questions? Tom? Dick, any questions on this? Normally, we were really going to try to accelerate this for you, get you to a public hearing, get you out of here, because we understand that you have a sale pending, but we can't do that this evening.
And I certainly appreciate that.
So we'll schedule for the next meeting. And
Mr. Chairman, I know you can't make an action to do it, but as the director of planning, I wouldn't want to aggravate the board, but we could possibly draft up a resolution to send to you guys for consideration without an action.
yeah, so, but we can't schedule a public, we still have the public in December.
No, it'll be, you can't schedule the public or whatnot, but at least we might be able to.
Sure, that's fine, yeah. We can do
I
that.
would greatly appreciate that. Thank you, Sabrina.
Yeah, and I can also speak with council that maybe we can make a decision to because we typically put lot line changes on for a public hearing, their very first
Right,
appearance, and so maybe there's some leeway for us to do that for the next time this is on.
yeah, I was surprised that it wasn't already scheduled for a public.
Well, there were
so-
some issues in regards to on the applicant's part that we didn't wanna rush it to public hearing unless we had everything tied up from the applicant.
Okay,
So,
but those have been,
all of that's been tied up,
been
so
resolved.
I'll work with council after the meeting and see if we can do something.
Okay, I'd like to try to accommodate you so if we can, it's usually
Thank
just
you
an
so much.
administrative thing here.
Great.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
And I think we'll drop off. Thank you so much.
Our next application is Piccolino, and this is
Before we move on, I just have a question. I'm Eric Brzezinski. I'm the son of.
Oh, sure. Was, you
So-
can, you know. Kind of unofficial.
So when you say that it's going to be a public meeting, and that could be in January, is that
No.
going to be the next meeting?
The next meeting, we hope we can actually negotiate this, so it will be a public hearing the next time we meet, which is in 2 weeks, actually less than 2 weeks. And so that we'll have a public hearing, assuming that there are not going to be throngs of people here interested in this application. We'll probably close the public hearing, and if we have the resolution prepared, we should have the resolution adopted next time around, which means you're done with us.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Most people say that.
Yes, thank you very much.
No offense, but thank you.
Great, okay, so that's what we're trying to do, and we would have been able to do that if we had, didn't have the problems we have tonight. But anyway, okay,
Very good.
great, thanks.
Thank you everyone for your consideration.
Okay, next application is Piccolino, 15 Little Pine Road, application for a site development plan approval for relocation of the clearing and grading limit line to construct an in-ground swimming pool.
Good evening, I'm back for this one. Again, I'm gonna share my screen to show you the map here.
Yeah,
I think it should be up, everyone can see that?
These are fun.
So, I'm gonna, hopefully get my dates correct. I believe this lot received site plan approval in 2004. I believe the planning board back in 1988, did a clearing grading limit line on this on this lot. I zoomed in there. So this lot has an existing house on existing driveway. I believe at some point there was a single-family house on this lot that burnt down somewhere around 1990, year 2000, somewhere in there. I don't know the exact date. But this lot received site plan approval in 2004, and there's a clearing grading limit line that goes right through this. I'm gonna call it a terrace. It's essentially a very flat lawn area. It's surrounded by stone retaining walls. Obviously, it was previously disturbed. And we are proposing to move the clearing grading limit line around the existing wall so that this area can be used for a pool. And I will show you my site plan. So the existing line cuts the area right here, as you can see from my cursor, and we're looking to move it around this area here. Again, this area was previously disturbed, it's always been disturbed, it's been graded. We're not changing the grade of it at all, we're basically gonna dig a hole, put a pool in. And I think that's it, it's as simple as that for me, so I'm here to answer any questions.
okay, yeah, thank you. Sabrina, your thoughts?
Okay, keeping informed with everything else tonight is a type 2 action in accordance with seeker. The application is actually zoning compliant and meets required setbacks and building and development coverage. The change in the clearing and grading limit line that the applicant, has requested, what he's saying is true. That stone, the stone wall that is reflected on the plans has been there going back to the 70s. It is amazing that at the time the subdivision was created, that clearing and grading limit line was drawn clear across the backyard. So I have no issue with the applicant shifting the clearing and grading limit line. It makes sense given the historical use of the property. And then that's really all encompasses. I don't even think in this instance that any type of mitigation would be required due to the change in the clearing and grading limit line, because the lot has been a lot in this development status in regards to where the stone wall is since the 70s. So
Okay,
that's all my comments. I have no problem if, when the next time the board can make a decision that this goes to public hearing.
thank you. Bob Hudson, questions or issues?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Based on my review of Westchester County GIS, municipal tax parcel viewer for years 2007-2021, it appears the applicant had put in a terrace after the implementation of the stormwater rules and regulations. They put in approximately about 2,350 square foot terrace. And then they added the pool, so they're at about 3,150 square feet, which well exceeds the stormwater regulations of new and previousness of 1,000. So now they have to retrofit the terrace and the pool and implement new stormwater regulations, so that's what they have to do for SD1. And because of that, they have to submit a completed stormwater management application and a fee. Then I have two general comments. The applicant is proposing to amend it. If the planning board's inclined to approve it, they would have to get a clearing and grading limit line declaration and an associated map as well to memorialize what they plan on doing. So the future owners are aware of it in the future when they do purchase the property, if they sell it. And then GC2 are just general notes that apply to the plan that are put on pretty much every site plan.
Right, notes.
Notes, and that's all I have.
Okay. Dennis, you had some thoughts?
Thank you. Yeah, I echo Sabrina. I think I was able to make it out in the 1947 area from that wall in the back.
Blimp, huh?
Right, and you know, I'm not a construction history person, but it would be interesting for someone to look at that wall and tell me when they thought it was built, just based on the materials, because of course it looks nothing like, you know, any of the walls today. So, you know, I wouldn't even know if I was out there in my role with the town if somebody said, gee, where am I supposed to stop mowing my lawn in this courtyard to honor this
Right.
line? I mean, it served no purpose, so that's why I have no problem moving it to follow the outline of the wall either.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. So again, this would be normally something that we would move to a public hearing for our next time. So I guess we will schedule it for a very quick continued informal next time and then take the action just to set it up for a public hearing for December. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
Question.
All right.
I'm a little confused, Sabrina. The property has a lot of hard, you know, road and bricks and things like that. And all of that counted. But why does that allow that a pool be put in if the original stuff is over or at the new limit?
It's not, there is no exceedance of coverage here. This lot is much bigger than the area that you're being shown right now. Most of it is actually in a conservation lands.
Okay,
So what you're seeing, the development on the lot does not go over the maximum allowable coverage.
How large is the lot? It looks to be almost 4 acres or so from the picture.
yeah, all right.
I believe this is about 6.
6, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 6.01 acres.
Okay.
This, where my cursor is, this is the conservation easement. So everything outside of that is conservation easement. This is all, you know, within the easement and outside our area. So yeah, it's a pretty small area that we're developing or develop.
Yeah, and that stone wall really is a historical barrier, if you will, in regards to disturbance, so.
Right.
Okay, very good. So I don't think there's any additional, do we need additional materials for the next time around? Well, you need
Yeah,
the stormwater, yeah, okay, yeah. So do you have enough time to get that in, for Bob? Maybe we should do this then for the December meeting, once, I'm sure we're past the date for submission for the next meeting, right?
Well,
We are.
I think as soon as Mr. Alfonsetti can get the information in accordingly.
Schedule the informal, okay.
What is the deadline for the next meeting?
Was.
It passed already. The next deadline is Monday for the December 5th meeting, but I think that we're hoping you could get this in before the next meeting on November 21st.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay, very good. Super.
Okay,
Yep, thank you.
all right, thank you. Good night.
All right. So that about wraps it up for what we can do this evening, right? Were you here for something else?
I'm done, thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Well, we can't take any action, we don't have a physical quorum here. So you were here for Westchester Pavers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, as we explained at the beginning, we can't take action because this is sort of like a, undercover type of meeting we're having today. So we can't take action because we didn't have a physical quorum here. So what we'll do is this will be on the next agenda, and we'll consider that point. All right? Okay. So I think we're set. Can we close the meeting? We can't take a motion to close the meeting?
You couldn't open it, you can't close it.
So, this is great. Less work, okay, very good, all right, thank you.